Hi, my name is Yelan Turner. I'm the Director of School Communications here at PALCS. I'm sitting with some of my friends, Judah and Sam, and this is Winging It.
I'm Judah Sutherland. I don't know if we're getting middle names in there, but it's Ryle. I'm in 12th grade, so I'm a senior, and I've been there. I joined in 8th grade.
Okay, I'm Sam. Samuel Christopher Good, for anyone who was wondering. I'm also a senior, and I joined USP and PALCS in 7th grade.
Oh, so you've got 1 year on him.
Yeah, I do.
Not that you're competitive at all.
No, we don't really do that.
In age, he's got like 16 hours on me, so he's much more mature.
We have the same birthday, but I'm like 16 hours older than him.
Hold the phone. Like, like actual date or just
actual day.
Within how many hours?
No, August 23rd, 2008. We were both born.
Yeah, same.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cute.
Thanks.
In the same state?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess.
Different hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay. But how many? 13 hours?
16
hours.
I think it was 16, yeah.
So
Who was born first?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really
just,
old compared to him.
You can't catch up.
Well, that's the only reason he's so much taller than me,
He's
actually.
a spring chicken compared to me.
So he's got the fresh legs, but you've got all the seniority.
Yes, yeah, correct. So
maybe 16 hours will be as tall as me, but I don't know.
Maybe. Here's to hoping.
Yeah, definitely.
How tall are you each?
I'm 5'6" 3/4", I think, is what the doctor said last time.
I'm 5'10".
Okay. All right. So does that matter on a bicycle?
We have different size bikes because of that, but I don't think it mattered much in power transfer.
No,
honestly.
I don't think it did. Really.
The bike kind of becomes a great equalizer of that because you can transfer the same size.
You don't have to pedal more?
I don't think so. No.
Because like if you were running next to each other, you definitely would have a different length of stride.
Yeah.
So he'd probably be running more.
Yeah.
It'd be higher cadence, but I think.
Okay.
I mean, I run a lot, and I don't think height really plays a role in speed.
Okay.
I think what happens with bikes though that makes it not as big of a deal is that, since we have different brand bikes, I have different gearing than him. Like, you can vary that so much that there's already going to be a big delta between what each person is doing. I don't think the height was going to be the biggest factor in that.
All right, back up. We're talking about biking because you did the pond crossing trip. What is that?
We did. Okay, so what it was we started at Judah's house in Glenmore. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
It's Pennsylvania.
For sure, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, we have to live in
close to Marsh Creek.
Go here.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, great.
So then over 7 days, we went on our bikes to London, Canada.
Wait, were they electric bikes?
No.
No.
Pedal bicycles.
Okay, great.
Just mechanical bike.
So you did all the work.
Yes. It's about 100 miles west of the border. And then we took a break one day, and then we biked back in another 7 days. We had a solid 200 miles of biking in Canada, like actually there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was probably closer to like 250. So it's like almost 400 to get to the border of Canada.
Yeah.
Then we did like 115 more going into Canada to London, Ontario, because we like the idea of like we biked to London because there's an ocean in between those two places. So we're like, we bike to London, but not real London. But
No.
Not England.
Just
London.
weird Canada, London.
Right.
Correct.
All right. Do you think it takes shorter or longer to go through customs when you're on a bike?
So with our situation, we wouldn't know because since we're...
You did it illegally.
Yeah.
We did.
Yep, we hopped.
Snuck through the trees.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more like Niagara Falls.
We did.
Like, I don't know, like, can you go behind the falls?
We just took a boat right across.
Right? Paddle.
Yeah.
Quick paddle.
Yeah, no, so we did use the Niagara Falls crossing, and there were people on foot, so it seems like it's definitely doable. But the thing is, since we were both 16 when we did this, we can't cross the border without an adult being there to sign off on it. And so my dad was there, so we just threw our bikes in the back of his truck and drove over. And then once you cross the border, you hop back on the bikes.
Did you eliminate that amount of distance from your entire trip, or did you cheat and just clock it?
It was about 2 miles, I think.
Okay.
Total.
Just for the record, just want to be clear.
Yeah. So our total that we tallied up, I don't think includes those 2 miles.
I don't know.
1,036. Honestly, we can shave off a lot of miles and still be above 1,000, so I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you cross the border, you get there, you go to London because you think that sounds cool, and then you took a day off to chill, eat food, real food.
Yeah.
as opposed to like protein bars,
Right.
etc. Like, what did you do? Tell me.
For breakfast that day, we went to some coffee shop, and I had honestly a life-changing bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich there. It was probably the best breakfast
What made
I've
it
ever
life
had.
changing?
They had some sauce on it that was just amazing.
Okay.
So that's what we did first. Then we were planning to go see some like military barracks, museums, and stuff, but it was a Tuesday, and for whatever reason, everything was closed. So then we just went back to the campsite and just chilled for the rest of the day.
You camped?
Okay, so here's
To a
what we
degree.
did.
No, we didn't camp really.
Judah's dad brought his truck and camper along. He was our chase vehicle, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
He went ahead of us every day and went to the campsites we were staying at and set up his camper.
You know, since he's like taking everything back down and setting back up, it takes a lot of time throughout the day because usually you're setting up for a couple days, so it's kind of a big setup process.
And then he would grab groceries and stuff too. For us.
And I think that night we had some poutine just to be like,
yeah, we
yes, we're in
did.
Canada.
Okay.
So we did get poutine.
Yeah.
Like legit poutine. I was watching Top Chef Canada. I think it's season 22.
Okay.
Big Top Chef nerd. And they do a whole poutine challenge. Do you feel like it was standard edition poutine?
It
What
was
makes a
definitely. It
poutine
had.
poutine?
Okay, well, poutine for everybody who doesn't know is French fries with gravy and cheese curds on it.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just pretty good. You had
I
a
liked it a lot.
life-changing BLT, but the poutine was like
The
pretty
poutine was good, but it wasn't like. It wasn't. I don't know.
I appreciate-
it wasn't amazing. It was good, but it wasn't like
Okay.
life changing.
I was a big
Right.
fan of the poutine. I
Yeah.
think maybe my breakfast sandwich might have not been as good as his, but then my poutine was better. But it was also a great way to refuel because like one serving of poutine was like 2,400 calories.
Yeah, it was.
So
We
I was
downed that poutine.
Yeah,
It was
like 15
minutes.
Yeah.
for
Okay,
2,400
so
calories.
back up. How many miles were you clocking per day-ish?
Average of 75-ish was
Yeah.
our
75 a day.
average
For
of
7 days-ish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then 1 day break and then do the same thing again.
I forgot that you had to go back.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
And is that part of the challenge?
It was kind of part of the challenge we set for ourselves because
Yeah.
our initial idea was that we would do it unsupported, so
Mhm.
without a chase vehicle, and in that case we would have to bike back because there would be nobody to take us home.
Yeah, but parents
But-
were not super cool with the idea of us
No.
doing unsupported.
It also
They
wouldn't
did
have
not
ever
like that.
worked because of a lot of reasons.
Yeah, border crossings, booking campsites at 16 years old, nobody likes that. And
Also,
our
like,
parents didn't
who
want to do that,
are you gonna like put a tent on your back? Like,
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, well, so like baby bags. It's just like a waterproof bag that goes around your sleeping bag. It's a lot lighter than a
you're
tent.
giving me parent anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a chase vehicle.
Thanks.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah, it was a lot nicer that way. It made it really fun.
Thanks, Judah's dad.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks again.
All right, so counting calories to make sure that you're sustaining enough energy. Did you have to learn a little bit about nutrition before you went on this trip?
I think it's kind of like the way we have lived our lives before that kind of lends itself to already knowing what a lot of the calorie counts are and how we expend them because he does a lot of running.
Yeah.
I did a lot of lifting. And so it was also like fun because we both did sports that weren't biking and then kind of just like both kind of got into the biking together. And it was like our equalizer between doing completely different sports.
Did you have to practice a lot of biking before you did it? Or were you like, I know how to ride a bike and I'm fit, so let's go?
I probably should have. Maybe I shouldn't have because it was fun the way it was. I did not really train very much. I did 3 training rides that were before it in any like, close proximity to the actual trip. I'd done like longer rides like a year prior.
Mhm.
But then to train for it, I did a 14-mile ride and then another 14-mile ride and then a 40-mile ride. And that was all my training to do
But
75 back to back.
before that, we had like the way we got this idea was we were on a bike ride to Philly, and that was like a 65-mile ride or something.
Just
And-
for funsies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just on a Saturday, just didn't have anything else to do. So, we went to Philly and we were thinking, well, we could make this a whole thing. We could like go
Do
to
a
Canada.
whole
I don't
thing.
know, another country would be interesting.
Uh-huh.
So that's when we got the idea, like a couple years ago when we were riding our bikes to Philly. So it wasn't
Wait,
like
so you've been doing random long bike trips together for several years?
for a couple years, yeah.
Yeah, probably 2 years maybe.
Yeah, probably
I'd
2
say
years.
2.
Okay.
Like very sporadically. Like
Yeah, like here
we've
and
done
there.
maybe 3 or 4 probably.
Yeah, I'd say probably 4 because there's 2 to Philly and 2 to Valley Forge.
That's definitely 4 more than me, so that's
Okay,
cool.
well,
Do you have good bikes?
yeah.
We do now, yeah. What I started with was I borrowed one from my dad, and then you had like a mountain bike that you started with, and the first time we rode to Philly.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had so much fun. We were like, let's buy some serious road bikes. So then I bought a used Cannondale Synapse, which is like would be middle of the road for road biking. But then for this trip, we needed gravel bikes because a lot of it would be like not on roads. And then especially once you get up to Canada, apparently their definition of a road is not exactly the same as ours. Yeah, definitely. There was one road they were on called Baldwin Road that was like had ruts like this deep and this wide from tractor tires, and it was just mud. In the very center was just like a swamp basically, and it was just mostly grass, mixtures of grass, dirt, gravel, mud, lots of things that aren't usually found in the middle of what is a like named street.
Yeah.
But so it's good we had gravel bikes. I bought a like barely used Specialized Diverge E5 gravel bike. You got?
I bought a pretty heavily used gravel bike, but it was really solid bike. Didn't have any problems.
Is a gravel bike different than a road bike, or does it just have a fancy tire?
Yeah, pretty much just a fancy
pretty much
tire.
just a tire. And so gearing is also slightly different, but that depends on like the generation of it, because newer ones, their gearing leans a little bit more towards that mountain bike gearing, where like you've got sprint gears, you've got like really low climbing gears, whereas an older gravel bike is more of just a road bike, so road bike gearing, and then you've got the knobby tires. So it's a sport that's kind of evolved. But
Are we talking gear adjustment on both handles versus just one handle?
yeah,
Because I know you've got like the
yeah.
low, slow, big chunkers, and then you've got like the micros in between.
Right. So my bike was just one like cassette that shifted.
Yeah.
So I just had one shifter. Judah had two.
yeah, because so his is like 1 gear in the front and then 11 in the back.
Yeah.
Mine is 2 in the front, 8 in the back.
Yeah.
And so I can switch between the front 2 on
Mhm.
just like a little button this way and button that way, and then the back 8 is I really mainly just use the back 8 because the big gear in the front is like for kind of sprinting, and we're not really doing a sprint. We're going
Mm-mm.
a pretty far distance.
No,
So.
the opposite of a sprint,
Yeah.
for sure.
For-
Do you have any vivid memories of when you learned how to ride a bike?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, not vivid, but I do remember it was like about when I was like 4,
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4, I learned how to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my parents, I think for my 4th birthday, gave me a Tiger bike, which was just a bike with tiger paint, and that was pretty great. That was a good bike.
Legit.
Yeah,
My
that was fun.
my tiger bike moment, if you will, is when I got my first bike that I really cherished, which was a Lightning McQueen bike. Yeah, it had like the
That
cool
thing
tires, like the little like fire
speedy.
design on the tires, and it was it had Lightning McQueen on it. It was red. I used it so much that like I really stretched out the chain on it, and so there would be like towards the end of its lifespan, if you will, I'd ride it and the chain would just pop off like every 100 feet, and I'd just like get back down there, throw the chain back on, and just keep going. Like,
Unbothered.
yeah, because I didn't really realize you can just buy a new chain, so I was like, well, this is the way this bike functions now.
From now on.
This is how it's gonna be.
This
now.
is how I bike.
It's part of the process now. So,
Okay, so you have done some long trips before. You did a couple rides like leading up to this just to
Yeah.
make sure your legs were, knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Do you have like super specialized equipment, or are you guys just like chilling in hoodies?
no,
Yeah, we did get specialized equipment.
Yeah, we got cycling uniforms basically. So like
Did you customize them? Do you guys have a
Yes.
group name? What's happening?
Yes.
we do.
Okay.
So the group. Go ahead.
No, you got it.
All right. So the group name actually came about from a pair of sunglasses that I was wearing when we rode to Philly. They're called they're from a company called Blenders. They're called the Buttery Bros.
I'm familiar with blenders.
Oh, yeah. So as the Blenders Buttery Bros, I was like, that's just such a silly name.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, guess what these glasses are called? He's like, the Buttery Bros. That's hilarious. And so we decided we're the Buttery
We
Bros.
are the Buttery Bros.
Okay.
So that's just that's our group name now. It just kind of stuck after that. We like dapped up. We're like, we're the Buttery Bros, and it was seal the deal there.
Yeah.
I love
We did.
that.
So our jerseys.
Mhm.
So they said the Buttery Bros
Mhm.
right here,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the back it said "Bad day to be a hill." So we did get custom jerseys.
Do you have those fancy shoes that click onto the wheels?
Yes,
We did. That's one thing a lot of people that like don't do long distance cycling don't realize is like probably the biggest game changer is having clip in versus not clip in,
Why?
because you can pull and push. If you don't have clip in, you can't pull, so you're just using your quads. If you can pull, you can use your hamstrings. And so if you have the same task being done by 2 muscles instead of 1, it gets way less blown up. The first ride I did to Philly, I had flat pedals, and so I couldn't pull. And so my quads were on fire. My hamstrings were
Yup.
fine. And so that means you're going to cramp like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because one's tight, one's like hasn't been doing anything.
That makes so much sense. Are they also fun to walk around in? Do you feel like a tap dancer?
A little bit.
I don't know. I got shoes that had like rubber tread that went below the clip, so it didn't really sound like rocking regular shoes.
So there's like a little cavity inside the shoes. I had ones that were similar. So it's like a little cavity so that you can still step over like where the pedal connects onto it, but then it's outside of that cavity. It's still like a regular shoe sole that goes past it.
Okay.
I had Crank Brothers. They're technically mountain biking shoes because my feet were just too wide for any road biking shoes, like clip-in shoes that there were at all. And so I
They don't
tried a
need
couple.
you.
Yeah. So I just got some mountain biking ones and they were really comfortable. I'm glad I got them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how many outfits does it take to get through a 2-week bike trip without a laundry machine?
Actually, we did laundry.
Actually, I don't
every
want to
night.
know the answer to that.
So-
No, tell me.
You're going to love the answer, actually. We did laundry every single night.
Pretty much a lot of campsites have laundry.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we just did laundry every night.
Just lots of quarters.
That's
Yeah,
preferable.
a lot of quarters.
I'm
Or
glad
some
you
loonies
said
and
that.
toonies
I was
in
almost
Canada.
very sad that
Yeah, no.
I was going to hear an answer to that.
We weren't stinking up the
What are
streets or
loonies and
anything.
toonies?
They're Canadian $1 and $2 coins.
No way.
Yeah, that's
So
what they call them.
that's what you use to pay for laundry in Canada.
Yeah. Our waitress, when we got the poutine, we were like, can we split these into some Canadian money? She's like, do you want loonies or toonies? We're like, dude, Tom's or Jerry's? I don't know. Like, what? And so she was like, no, like $1, $2. We're like, oh, I guess just a mixture.
So the rest of the trip, I can't imagine. Are you wearing like the special spandex with the pads and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but yeah, we wear
It
because
is.
they're way more comfortable. Like you need a lot of cushioning.
It's
for
in between
sure.
seats.
It's a necessary evil of cycling, I think.
But what I'm thinking about right now is the pocket. Do they have a lot of pockets? Where are we putting the Cliff Bars?
You've got
Backpack?
3 pockets in. We learned from
Those
our
shirts
early
have pockets.
They
I
do
have
forgot
pockets.
about
They have a few.
that.
And then
Oh.
also, I had a little thing, I had frame bags and stuff, so I just put them in the bags that were on my bike, and I could reach some of the bags, so I just put them in those bags I could reach.
Yeah, we had lots of bags on our bike. They were pretty loaded down. My bike, before I loaded it down, was probably like 19 pounds, and then after I loaded it down, was probably closer to 50. And so we had I had a center frame bag, goes in like the triangle of the center of the frame, and then one on top of the like main frame bar that had my phone in it, and then I had a front bag that's on my handlebars, and then a aluminum rack on the back that I had a backpack like bungee corded to, and most of the stuff was waterproof.
Like my kid's seat,
Yes.
but with food.
yeah.
But more aerodynamic? A
Um,
little like lower and
oh,
like hidden
yeah.
behind your body probably.
Yeah, it is behind your body.
Yeah, that's
Not like a full 2-year-old kicking your back the whole time.
yeah. No, it wasn't kicking me.
No,
Mm-mm.
and that's great.
Are we talking camelback status for hydration? What are we doing?
No, you had
So I had a water bag would be in a camelback, but I put it in my frame bag
Mhm.
and then had the tube just run up over the handlebars so I could get a drink when I needed it.
Okay.
And I also had 2 water bottles just in water bottle holders on my
Okay.
handlebars.
Are we too cool for the backpack? What's the...
just like any weight you add on top of yourself is pressing you down onto your seat, and saddle sores are honestly more difficult to deal with than leg soreness.
So it's all about being
Yeah.
as zero gravity as possible.
Keeping
Definitely.
stuff off your body is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we didn't have any bags the first trip we did. We wore backpacks. Didn't realize that's just
Yeah.
going to destroy.
That was
Mhm.
tough.
Like riding a horse for the first time?
Mhm.
I've never ridden a horse.
Okay,
But
maybe you should.
When I do for the first time,
Yeah.
I'll
Keep it in
take
mind.
note. Yeah.
Don't wear camelback.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. That'll make or break you.
Yep.
So you said you were chitty-chatting a lot throughout this
Mm-hmm.
journey, but you didn't have, I was imagining a headset so you could just, be in each other's headspace. But now you were, old-fashioned, just,
Yeah.
yelling out, what's up, dude? Yeah, we're still riding.
Pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's exactly what we said every time.
Yeah. That was all of our
We're still
conversations.
out here.
No.
No.
I mean, honestly, we did say that a lot.
On some roads, no traffic roads or roads with big shoulders, we would go next to each other,
Mhm.
which definitely made it a lot easier to communicate. And then we were on a trail, the Pine Creek Rail Trail, which is in northern Pennsylvania it's 65 miles long, I think.
Roughly.
Sounds beautiful.
It's
great.
really nice. So yeah, there we were side by side because we had a lot of space.
Nice.
So
Yeah. And also, there's a lot of shoulders. Once you get up north, either, whether it's for pushing snow off the road onto the shoulder instead of just into people's yards, they have really big shoulders.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a lot of roads, or especially if you go into medium-sized highways, highway, like Route 19, Route 16, they've got a substantial shoulder. And we kind of just pull up to a road and be like, is this shoulder yapping width? Yeah. I think it is. Then we'll ride next to each other and talk. If
Do you
not,
have a sign language for that? Like,
no.
We just gotta be like, yo, is this yapping width? Yeah, I think so. We'll try and go next to each other.
Okay. So you didn't develop any like special sign language?
No, actually not at all.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Than, like left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When you're indicating which way you're turning, we do this.
Yeah.
And like we add some spice to it sometimes. Like,
yeah, ooh,
but,
getting fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Those are some dance moves, basically.
Yeah, we're
having a good time.
We're busting a move.
Okay, so how does this translate back to school? You do something called the Automotive Club?
Yeah, we're both in that. I started that in my sophomore year. I just really love cars and I love working on stuff, and I wanted to kind of share that passion with other people there, get other people into it. So first year my friend Mark had a go-kart frame that had been sitting in his yard for a while. So we sourced an engine from Sam and then just bought a bunch of other parts, got that thing all into a coherent go-kart that can drive. And then the next year, which was last year, I bought a go-kart that's kind of neglected, but still more like actually a go-kart, not just a frame and like bits and bobs. And then once we got that to run and drive well, I built a nitrous kit for it. And then so we would do just kind of like drag racing cars would, go in a straight line, hit the nitrous, speed up.
Is nitrous real? I thought that was just like a fun word that they used in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, no, actually, it's a real thing.
Real.
It's
work.
N2O was the chemical.
And you can use it in a go-kart?
Yeah. I built the kit actually from you can buy on Amazon. You can buy homemade whipped cream like making canisters, and they use actually N2O, which is just nitrous, but it has to be 100% pure, so it's not contaminating food with any other gases. And so it's actually purer than automotive nitrous, but it's the same chemical compound. And you just put the little capsules in there and fill up the tank. Don't put anything to make whipped cream, just the nitrous. And then you press the lever. I hooked up a plastic tube to that runs back right into the airbox right into the carb, and just shoots the nitrous right through the carburetor into the engine. And then it revs higher, makes more power. And we added like 10 to 15 miles per hour to the top speed.
My main question is, have you ever pranked someone and just exchanged it for an actual can of whipped cream?
I haven't done that yet. No. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about shooting whipped cream into the engine, but maybe we should try it.
Goes left-handed, not behind the car.
No, it goes right into the engine.
The only thing I know about go-karts is from Little Rascals. Or like maybe a commercial for Humera where they build a cardboard boat and then somehow they're all of a sudden in a lake and it works and they're paddling, and I'm like, that's cardboard. What are you doing?
Yeah. Next adventure, we build cardboard boats and we go
sail across to the real London.
Oh, to the real? Yeah, that's a good idea. I like
cardboard boat.
Please don't do that. That sounds fun, but like not at all. Like,
okay.
No.
I appreciate the feedback on that. We'll kind of iron out that out.
We'll try to adjust.
Workshop it.
Yeah.
It's maybe a real boat.
Okay, so you said, though, the first iteration of this go-kart, you were like, we sourced an engine from Sam, who just has a bunch of go-kart engines hanging out.
I do. My dad builds motorcycles. Like, we have a lot of motorcycles. We have a lot of engine stuff. We just had a power washer sitting around that had an engine that worked.
Just casually.
So we just stole the engine off the power washer and put
now
it in the
your
go-kart.
deck is very dirty and your mom is very upset.
Yeah. We do have another power washer, though, so it's okay.
Okay. All right.
Then backup.
Yeah, it was the backup.
Then I'm fine with that. So what do you do at meetings? You actually build, or is it like on paper at the meetings and then you go home and get like all mad scientist, or are you actually building things together?
We were getting mad scientist in the parking lot at school. Yeah, we stored the go-kart there.
It's fine. We were supervised.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we were supervised by a trusted adult.
Right.
And often just Mr. Stiles, our principal, was there to oversee it. Especially if we drove it, he would be there to watch over the situation. And yeah, so we'd kind of like, all right, everybody, let's look over this, try and get to work. And then when it doesn't work, figure out what's not working. And then I'll buy the part, we'll bring it in, we'll install it together. We installed a new carburetor, new spark plug, just a few like things here and there, new front wheels, installed a new brake drum because the brake pad that was previously on there was just gone. So it was just metal and metal. This year, the project is a 2007 Ford Mustang. That is, it's at my house. I think we're gonna try and get it to school on Friday.
Sounds like a real car.
We have an actual automotive. Automotive club.
Yeah, so it's now we have an automobile to work on.
It's legit.
Do you feel like this is your in school? This is your way to get interested in what you're doing? Or is this just a casual hobby because you guys are in it for completely different reasons?
I think it's just, I don't know, I just love working on my car. It's like fun to be able to do that at school. I like, there was nobody else at school that was like as, just like in love with cars as I am. So like maybe if I have a club where we all kind of, get into cars, start working on them ourselves, we'll kind of start enjoying it enough to all like be really into it.
You're making your own friends.
Yeah, manufactured friends.
I really like that.
Thanks.
Be the change you want to see in the world,
Okay, Sam, what about you? Were you like...
I manufactured
what? So, I mean, I'm in automotive club because I like working on engines, not necessarily like love cars as much as Judah, but also nobody loves cars as much as Judah.
Fair.
So, I'm there for kind of like the mechanical side of stuff. And when you have a car that hasn't run in 6 years, there's a lot of stuff probably wrong with it that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
just here to I like working on stuff, problem solving, figuring out what's wrong.
You're both seniors. Have you started applying to college?
You start.
Yeah, I actually applied to a college yesterday. It was
Cool.
the first one.
Congrats.
Yeah, I want to go for mechanical engineering or civil engineering.
Cool.
Also, random story. I was in a parking lot the other day.
Yeah.
We were leaving from a cross-country meet because I run cross-country, so we were leaving. Everybody was leaving at the same time, and the parking lot was just like gridlock. So I need to be a civil engineer to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen.
Do you ever catch yourself looking at it when you're in that situation, being like, all right, not only is this stupid, but I'm pretty sure if we just... And you're like thinking about it?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I'm not really necessarily critiquing people's designs because I don't know enough about it yet to understand why they made the decisions they did. But, I mean, I would like to get to a place where I can design better parking situations and better, functioning things for people to use.
I like that. Do you feel like bike lanes more or less have some space in that?
Yeah, maybe. I know this is probably a controversial thing, but I think bike lanes aren't that helpful usually.
Okay.
Because I think a shoulder would work better because bike lanes, the bikers feel more safe in them when in reality they don't really do much for the bikers. Like at intersections, bike lanes are super dangerous because people are turning right, especially in America.
And that's crossing
You can make a right turn on red. And the bike lane, they see, I don't know, no cars coming this way, they go, someone turns right on red, they get hit. I think it kind of makes a false sense of security in a way.
Okay.
And they're I don't really want to say not as helpful as just having some space there for them to use. But I think it definitely creates a new category of problems.
What about when you have a shoulder that is primarily used for parking?
Yeah, then it gets
Then we just gotta kind of hop the road, I guess.
I mean, in towns and stuff.
Yeah.
I think drivers should just go behind the bikes. We all have to use the roads. You're in a town.
Yeah.
What's the difference between going 20 and 17 of the bikers going? Does it really matter? Just wait a little bit. You're not going to get there much faster.
Do you think you'll do anything to, I don't know, explore that dynamic moving forward?
I mean, yeah, definitely. That's something I would like to kind of study and see. Because I run on the streets a lot too, so how pedestrians interact with cars.
Yeah.
Can we make running trails, biking trails, stuff like that, so that people can use them and be off the roads.
What do you do in a highway situation? Do you avoid them? On your bike trip?
Was it the second day that my GPS just basically told us to just hop on a
an on-ramp.
4-lane highway?
Yeah.
It's
we didn't do that. We turned around.
Yeah, we just backtracked, added a couple miles by just backtracking, and then figured out our own way, kind of just, threw in Google Maps, let's avoid these highways. And then from there on, we pretty much used Google Maps as opposed to my downloaded GPS that I had on my head unit. Google Maps is what told us to go on Baldwin Road, but to be fair, they don't know that it was just grass and ruts.
But also, to be fair, Baldwin Road does have a sign that says, not a public road, use at your own risk, which we conveniently left out the first time telling the story. It's funnier that way.
Yeah, it's when we introduce that later. Yeah, so we did use it at our own risk. Hey, we got across too. It wasn't that bad.
It was fun memory, so
Great memory.
That's all you can ask for.
So you just applied to your first college yesterday, looking for something in civic engineering or just that general scope category?
Yeah, something engineering.
Are you trying to stay close to home or are you getting far away?
I'm trying to stay like pretty close.
Within biking distance.
I mean, well, biking distance, that opens it up a lot now that we've gone.
Now that you've gone to Canada, what does that even mean?
Yeah, what is biking distance, right?
Other countries are within biking distance, so I don't know, we can go pretty far for college.
Okay.
Actually, the main college I want to go to, I guess that's within biking distance, because I want to go to Virginia Tech for mechanical engineering.
Okay. Mechanical engineering.
Yeah. I would like to do that, because I want to be an automotive engineer eventually.
Okay. So you want to make the cars and you want to figure out how they're going to share space.
Yeah.
And get around.
It'd be a great tag team.
Yeah, you guys should I don't know. Buttery Bros?
Oh, dude.
Buttery Bros Incorporated.
I think there's something in your future.
Could be.
A collab, for sure. Summer or winter? We're starting easy. Softball.
Probably summer.
I'm going to go summer, too.
You don't have school.
Summer as well.
I mean, we did the trip in summer. So
yeah, we did the trip in summer.
Okay. Paper books or ebooks?
Paper. I prefer paper books. I like to, I like to turn the pages. I like to smell the book. I like to, read the words.
The book.
All right. It's inevitable, okay?
What do you get out of that?
He's a secret book sniffer.
Yeah. Oh, just revealed that. I don't. When I was growing up, the Harry Potter books always just smelled so good. I don't know why.
Oh my god.
Like they had their own smell. That's the only reason I say that. It's not like I'm like sniffing books. It's just those I remember. Like if I was reading those electronically, I wouldn't have had the same experience.
Ice cream in a cone or in a cup?
I feel like I err on the side of cup usually. Okay. It's just
because you take a while.
No, I definitely don't take as long as Judah. Judah, dude, takes forever.
Are you a slow eater?
Yeah, I'm slow a lot of things.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to hate or anything.
Just no, I am.
Every morning of the trip, I would have to wait for him for at least half hour to get ready.
Yeah.
Oh, but you
He's
can
slow at waking up.
You can get up and be like, okay, we're
Oh yeah, I can get up and go.
Yeah, me too.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm wired different though, because I want to get into the zone that he's in, and so I don't want to say anything that's like I'm just built a different way. Like I want to say I can change.
I think it's
I want to work on it.
I've been this way my whole life. Even when I was 6 years old, I would get up early and I would do stuff in the morning. I'm just a morning person. I just get up fast.
Do you feel like you're a nighttime person?
Yeah, I stay up so late most
just the whole
nights.
night.
Yeah,
he's nocturnal almost.
Yeah, pretty much. I really like staying up late at night.
Is cake better than pie?
I prefer pie. I'm pie
it depends. I don't know. I think cake is better.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be friendship ruining, to be honest.
You just both. You're just going to go to a diner and make sure they have both.
Yeah. Okay. We can both settle for the other. I mean, we're very...
I think ice cream is better than cake or pie, generally, in my opinion. So
I'd probably agree, to be honest.
I just prefer that.
Is cereal soup?
Oh, that's actually... I haven't heard that question before. I'm going to
say... You haven't heard it at all?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know if I'd call it soup. I mean, it's... I want to just leave it in its own category. I feel like that's just where it's been sitting. I feel like it's okay there.
Well, it's kind of the same question as is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is it?
Are we talking about the hot dog with the bun, or are we just talking about the hot dog? Because are we talking about the cereal with the milk, or just the cereal?
We are.
It's a taco. You're supposed to leave it connected. If you break it, it's not a hot dog anymore. It's a sandwich.
I don't think it's a sandwich because the bun's connected.
Is it a taco?
It's a taco.
It's a fluffy taco.
No, I feel like it's both the cereal and the hot dog. I'm just saying, they've been the same category. These things were fine sitting as they are what they are.
Okay. All right. Are superheroes cooler than wizards?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Some superheroes are wizards, right?
I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Doctor Strange, isn't he a wizard?
Yeah, I feel like that's where I was going with that. I feel like Doctor Strange is technically a wizard. So maybe if you wanted to cop out, you could say he is just both. So he's really cool. But no, I'd say superheroes are cooler.
Yeah, I think so. I think just the way people think about superheroes is cooler than the way people think about wizards.
Yeah, wizards can
wizards
be
is
good
long
or bad.
beard in a cave with
in a cave?
I don't know anything about wizards.
Well, no, but I would say
so. That's the way I think about it.
I feel like superheroes they have to be a hero to be a superhero, whereas a wizard can be evil or good, and it's not cool to be evil.
Nuh-uh. Can't you be a bad superhero?
It's just called a villain.
Yeah,
it's just called a villain.
If you got hero in the name, then you got to be
You're
a
a
hero.
hero.
Like you lose superhero
Are you just
status
a
if you
villain, or are you super villain if you have special powers and
super
you're
villain,
bad?
right?
Yeah,
I believe it's if you
supervillain.
have powers, super
I
villain.
mean,
you have
anyone can
powers.
be a villain, but not anyone can be a supervillain.
Is
Yeah.
the costume
The difference
required?
is presentation.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is the costume required to be
for a
super
superhero?
anything? Superhero, super villain.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
I mean, the classic like Megamind taught us the super villain. The difference is presentation. So they gotta have a costume, right?
Yeah, I think you do have to have a costume.
Could
Because like anyone can be a villain, but not anyone can be a
Yeah.
supervillain. So it's like you gotta have something that sets you apart.
Mhm.
And a costume's a pretty surefire way to set you apart.
Definitely.
okay. All right, but like, what if you're like undercover super?
I feel like that doesn't really work out very well. Then
You
you're
still
just
have
a
to like
spy.
bust out and have an option.
Yeah, you have to like for you to do anything, you have to have your like.
They all have
superhero
their
costume
normie
on.
clothes because
They
they don't
do,
live in their
But they
super
don't
clothes.
do anything in their normie clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Like-
just listen to the news radio.
You're just a spy then.
I mean, okay, there maybe are a couple that like could fall in the supervillain category that are like they're wearing technically something regular. Like you could say like Fisk or like Kingpin. It's like maybe supervillain level, maybe street villain level. I don't know, but like he's wearing a suit, but he's just so huge that suit
Yeah.
is like already so
Right.
big. Like the presentation's there because of his
Yeah,
character.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So I feel like no matter what, if they're gonna get in a super category, they already have some sort of presentation that like
You have to stand out.
if you just
Cape or no cape?
cape or Nick. Oh, I
Like
no,
Edna Mode said.
no capes.
No capes.
No capes.
Yeah. You
don't get sucked into the wind turbine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember
Our-
that, but
Our superhero and supervillain education is Megamind and the Incredibles.
yeah.
I mean, me too.
That's all
what
you
it's
need
for.
though.
That's why it's there
Like,
to teach
once-
you these things.
It's like
No capes.
yeah.
I was gonna ask if you could have one of the superpowers from The Incredibles, which would you have? But I already know the obvious answer.
Frozone.
Oh, that's genius.
That's not even what I was thinking.
That is
but
the obvious
okay.
answer.
I mean, he's the coolest for
Frozone is
sure.
awesome. I love Frozone.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
I mean, probably just be Mr. Incredible.
No, that is awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
But,
cool.
I don't know. Frozone's so cool, man.
Okay. the
Frozen is
obvious
cool. Other than
answer
Frozen, though.
He's
was
chill.
What was the obvious?
Baby Jack Jack.
Okay, that's.
I don't think so. I just
I
don't.
think.
You see him attack a raccoon with like 10
Okay.
different superpowers?
Yeah. Just he doesn't carry himself the way Mr. Incredible does.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like part of the superpower
yeah,
is the
okay.
decorum of the character.
Exactly.
If you have the superpower, do you have to become the age and size of that
No.
super character?
No,
Because if
no.
so, then
I wouldn't mind being Frozone. He's awesome. He's chill.
and you called the trip.
The pond crossing. Sort of as just a joke name because we went to London, and a lot of people when they say like they went from America to England or like to London or anywhere in Europe, crossing the
Yeah.
pond.
Mhm.
And so since we went to London, which is the London in Canada though, we didn't really cross the pond, but we're calling it the pond crossing because
Yeah.
that's what it was. We were
Would you
feigning.
go back for the BLTs?
I think
Probably not.
He said it was life changing.
It was really good, but
And then he was like,
That's-
and we're good.
yeah, I mean, you can just have one experience, and that's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
it's
good for-
time to find the life changing version of another food.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh.
Maybe a little closer to home, or maybe far away, but somewhere else.
Are you already
in-
planning your next trip?
In
Washington.
Washington
Yeah.
State.
State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of want to.
Whoa, from here?
No, not biking.
No.
Not biking. We're gonna
not
drive.
biking.
Oh.
In a car.
Okay.
Because we like cars.
Yeah,
we
we
like
like,
cars.
I like cars.
Oh, okay.
So
in the broken car? You're going to go in the broken car?
Hopefully it won't be broken by then.
the objective is to make it slightly less broken.
But it probably will be broken at some point.
It will break. It's
Just like your McQueen bike.
yeah.
Pop the
Yeah,
chain
just
back
keep
on.
fixing it. Just keep fixing it. That's how it works. That's how you
That's
operate
how
the car
it
now.
goes.
You just fix it every now and then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happens when you buy your like one of your dream cars as a kid. You kind of have to buy the really cheap broken one.
Yeah.